I guess first off, I'll start by my name's Jess from Falcon Hobby Supply, otherwise known as the crawler guru around here. I know a little bit about crawlers, been doing it for 12, 15 years now. Today, what brings us here is the new Traxxas TRX-4. It's their new scale and trail crawler. Traxxas' first plunge into the crawler market. They're a little late to the game, but I think they did a great job and did their homework on this one. So we'll go through the truck and see exactly what they did. I'm not going to take it apart, but I will tell you how I feel about it. Some of the features, how it drove. We did get it out and drove it yesterday. Turned out really good. Made a pretty cool video. For starters, first thing out of the box you'll see is the body. Body sticks out. It's very large. A little larger than what you're used to if you're an axial guy or a Vatera guy. It weighs about 1.9 pounds, so it's a little heavier than most of your standard Lexan bodies. The body is Lexan. It's got a nice exo cage. Very durable. I rolled it a few times yesterday and no issues. A few scuff marks, but nothing too major. It's got built-in inner fenders, nice rubberized fender flares. They do an excellent job of keeping the mud and water out of the interior of the truck. We submerged this truck, completely underwater yesterday, and no ill effects. So the truck is completely waterproof at this point. Outside of the tires do have breather holes in them, so if you do plan to run it underwater, don't do what we did and let the tires fill up with water. So it makes for a mess, and you gotta squeeze them out, and it takes forever to get the water out. But anyway, back to the body. Very thick Lexan. It's not a hard body, but being Lexan, it's very rigid. It's held in these grooves on the rocker arms here, the sidebars, and keeps it nice and rigid. It's got two prongs in the back that kind of slide into the bumper to help locate it. It's a little top heavy when you're out riding it. If you're just doing normal trail riding, you would, going up hills, you might rock it backwards or flip it over. That can be fixed at later. Hopefully Traxxas comes out with a newer body that doesn't weigh as much and maybe a little bit smaller footprint. Enough about the body. Well, there is some cool scale accessories on the backside of the body as well. You got a full tire. It doesn't swing out like some would hope, but some nice jerry cans, cool international license plate, some built-in light buckets, so it's ready for a future light upgrade kit, which I'm sure Traxxas will come out with. The inner fenders have what appears to be these little cutouts where you could put maybe rock lights in there. Very nice feature. The mirrors are folding. They just flex around, so you don't have to worry about ripping them off. Very good job on the body. The only thing I don't like about the body is the size, the weight, and the fact that they didn't leave the windows clear behind the stickers. The stickers got laid over, but they painted the whole body on the inside. I would have liked to have been able to take the tinted window stickers off to be able to see the inside and put a scale interior in there. Moving on to the chassis. The first thing I noticed, being an off-roader, I'm a one-to-one wheeler. I have a couple Jeeps. I have a Jeep with portal axles. And so I was really excited when I heard this was coming out with portals. I've seen another truck come out with portals recently from MXT. They came out with a portal rig. But I was excited to see how Traxxas handled theirs. They look very nice. They got a 2.5 reduction out at the portal boxes, and then I think about a 3-to-1 reduction with the gearing and the pumpkin. The locking mechanism, you got a servo that actuates a cable. That cable is hooked to a little sleeve over a collar that slides back and forth, and it engages on the actual differential. It may be a weak point down the line if people start adding, bigger motors, bigger tires. But as it is, I think it's plenty strong. The beauty of portals is it reduces a lot of strain on your drivetrain. By reducing this out here, you're taking a lot of forces off of the drive shafts, the differentials, and the transmission itself. The caster and the camber, all that's going to be fixed. You can't adjust these portal boxes. It's just they're held on by 3 screws, and it's a fix. The end of the housing is keyed, so it just slides over the end of the housing. You put 3 screws in, that holds it on. There's no adjustment there at all. So what you get for your drive shaft angle is what you get. You're not going to be able to adjust the links too much. The tires, the 1.9s, sort of like an all-terrain, like a BFG type all-terrain tire, but very sticky. Very nice for a factory tire. Noticed yesterday in the mud and the goop, they cleaned out quite well. I never lacked traction. Even when I was in the deep, thick goop, I still had enough power to turn the tires over. They didn't exactly clean out when I got in 3 inches of mud, or really soupy mud, but they were still spinning, which was nice. Speaking of the motor, which is turning those guys, it's got a 21 turn 550 cam motor, so a little bit bigger motor. It seemed to have plenty of torque, plenty of power. With the 2-speed training mated to it, you know, I was able to switch from low to high by using this TQI transmitter. The 2 speeds just operated off this little switch. So if you guys are Summit guys, you'll be used to this remote. You got a nice 2-speed option here, and then you can switch between your gear lockings here. So all the way back would be just standard 4-wheel drive, open front and rear. Move it up one, I believe it locks the front end, and then move it up one more, you got all 4 wheels locked, spinning. So you got true 4-wheel drive engagement. The links, some new rod ends with a slot for like a wrench. Nice metal links. Drive shafts, yeah, they look like a axial drive shaft. Difference being they went to a 1.5 millimeter hex. Yeah, don't really like that. I like the bigger hex, like the Revos. Kind of wish they went with the Revo hex keys there. The transmission, it's a 2-speed tranny, which most people who are used to dealing with 2-speed trannies, they're pretty big and bulky. You got the servos sitting on there, and they take up a lot of room. They're really hard to get nice and low in the chassis. Traxxas did a really good job of making this transmission nice and flat. They don't use that 3-gear side by side. They use like a triangle type gear ratio in the back in your transfer case. The gears on the inside, they're all plastic but one. Your typical Traxxas transmission has one metal idler gear and then the rest are plastic. I don't think that's going to be a problem initially, as long as we keep this truck relatively stock. Because keep in mind, the portals are helping take away a lot of the strains. So we'll see. We'll leave the book open on that one. And as I said before, it's definitely waterproof. When we got this out of the mud and the water and the goop, I brought it in to clean it off. Well, above the bottom of the chassis, the tires, the wheels, the axles, and the links, the truck was clean. It literally took just a towel. I wiped it off. It was done. And then, of course, I had to wash the rest of the truck. The ESC is XL5 HV, high voltage, so a little bit of a change. It's not your standard XL5. I don't know the programming on it yet. I haven't had a chance to research it. I would like to see a drag brake on this. I did notice yesterday there wasn't much of a drag brake. It had a little bit of a drag brake, but on the downhills it rolled out. So I would like to get into the programming and see if we can change the drag brake on it. The front chassis, the chassis itself, it runs, you know, your standard 4-link in the rear, and then in the front you got a 3-link with a chassis mounted servo. A lot of guys are doing this. SCX 10s, 2s do this. It started, you know, it's kind of the new thing. You used to have to upgrade all your axials to a chassis mounted servo. Now the SCX-10-2 comes with a chassis mounted servo. This one comes with a chassis mounted servo. Very nice for steering. You get lots of steering angle, as you can see. I think it's 45-degree steering angle is what they advertise, which looks like 45 degrees to me. So the only thing I worry about, the shocks, they're pretty much extended all the way, and this is a pretty short geometry up here. This front, what do you call that? Your drag link it's pretty short. It doesn't go all the way out, and it doesn't come all the way over to the outside of the frame rail like most chassis mounted servo setups would be. And as long as you don't run longer shocks, you know, long travel, it shouldn't be an issue. But it could be if you decided to upgrade in the future. So that would have to be addressed. The servos, they're stock servos. I've never been impressed with a stock servo. It did do everything I asked it to. It was a little slow, but it worked. So we'll see how long it works. I don't know. It's a 2075X, so I think all they did was they added metal gears to it and maybe a little more torque. I'm not exactly sure on that. The battery tray, very nice. It's built right up here in the center of the chassis, nice and low. It's not up high, so keep your weight down low. Outside of that, the actual frame rails on this are very similar to a axial frame rail, and I believe they will take any of your upgraded axial bumpers. So they got the same 2 bolts up in the front, or on the other side of the frame rail. So I believe any of your upgraded axial bumpers will fit on the TRX-4. The shocks themselves, nice aluminum body shocks, felt really nice and smooth. Very impressed with the shocks, the way they perform. Maybe a little bit, maybe the oil is a little bit too thick, maybe a little bit stiff spring, but easy to fix. But they were pretty smooth, and it's nice having nice aluminum shocks stock. The electronics tray sits over here on the side. Outside of that, you got some fake bumpers on here. They're plastic, very rigid. Traxxas has got good plastic. They've always had good plastic. We'll see how long this bumper holds up, especially the way I drive it. And if I demo it, I plan to let a few of our customers drive it as well. So we'll see how she holds up after this Memorial Day run that we're going to go on. Overall, very impressed with the truck. Traxxas did a great job on their first dive into the scale and trail market. Very happy with it. The price I thought was a little high at first. At $449, I believe is the retail. But after seeing all the features, driving the truck, I'm very happy with the price. I think they probably underpriced it, which is what you really want to hear. Especially in, when you look at this competition. The availability, I believe Traxxas, I'm hoping they're going to start shipping the end of next week. We shall see. We'll see if the ETA sticks. Other than that, welcome to the TRX-4 and welcome Traxxas to the scale and trail market. Well, thanks for watching my first video here at Falcon Hobby Supply. I can't wait to do some more.